Hello, this is Giovanni here at Fractals, and today we are gonna try and make a sequence inspired by the ending of Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Karn Evil 9. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the piece, it sounds more or less like this. The live version is slightly different from the recorded one, but the core principle is the same. We have a sequence that gets progressively faster until it reaches audio rate and ends with an explosion. I have set up a sequence that reminds the original one. It's not the same, it's just for demonstration purposes. The structure is this one. We have an external clock clocking the Usta because we will need to modulate it. We have two oscillators, the two brainsaw oscillators blend in this mixer here, the 321 used as a submixer with some noise coming from Bagai. And everything is going to one filter on the Kunsa, pinged by a gate, simple gate track from the sequencer. These are the individual sound sources. Bagai gives me the chance to tune the noise to the desired color. I chose this one because I want it to be more in the high range. And then we can bring the... We can add some extra gain to drive the filter if you want. Like this. I have seen some tutorials where the musicians program the sequence and just manually swept the clock. To make it faster, which is okay, but if we take a look at the live version, we can see that Keith Emerson is not there. There's not somebody moving the switch. So I would like to recreate this effect by programming the machine to speed up every time it plays a sequence. And I can do that because Usta sequencer has 4 tracks, so it's like using 4 separate sequencers, each with their own speed. I will program a track 2. I can retain the same clock to unit ratio as track 1 and still use the external clock. So you will see that all the tracks are currently moving in sync. Now my idea, since my track 1 is a 16-note pattern, is to set stages of track 2 to be 16 time units long, which means that every stage of track 2 now is as long as one full pattern on track 1. Let's give an example. This is track 1 and this is track 2. Okay, now I will program some control voltages on track 2 to be a sort of a scale. So I will use increments of half a volt. So let us start from 0, plus half, until we reach the 8th stage with 3.5 volts. And then I will simply patch those voltages, modulation input on Bagai. Nice. If I adjust the CV attenuverter, I can make the changes even more dramatic. and so on. If I want, I can add more stages using the same principle. Let's make it 12 and keep adding voltage increments. So 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5. But now we have two slight problems. The first one is that our sequence might be a little bit stepped, so the time increments might be a little bit abrupt from one stage to another, even if we tune the attenuverter accordingly. And the second one is that once we reach the end of the sequence, it starts again, but I want it to stop just like in the live performance. So let us address the two issues one by one. The first one, I think, is the easy one, because I can simply set all those stages to slide into one another. So I will have a continuous sweep of voltage from 0 to 5.5, each sliding into the other. So it's like a ramp, like a perfectly linear voltage ramp from 0 to 5.5. You have seen that having this one also integrated jeopardize the start of the sequence, because it integrates from the last played value. So I will need to set this one to blue. And now this stage just integrates from this one to this one, and so on. First problem solved. Now we have to find out how to make the sequence stop when it reaches our last stage. This is a very extreme use of the sequencer. It's the first time I try something like this, but let's hope it works. So my idea is to set up a gate track on track 2 with just a gate high signal that I will cross patch into the auxiliary input and use it as a run signal, which means that the sequencer detects a gate high, it plays. If detects a gate low, it will stop and then reset. We have 4 run options that we can access in the project menu. They are global per machine. Right now it is set to run 2. The default behavior is reset, so just raising front will reset the machine without any further operation. Pretty primitive use of the auxiliary input. And then we have 4 run options, because it's not a standard, the run signal. Sometimes it works with a gate high signal, stops and then reset, or perhaps it resets and then stops, and all these things. So I have found that maybe run 2 is the good option, but we will see. So what I want to do now is to program a gate track on track 2 with just gate high signals, so it's like a constant high voltage. And then I will program an extra stage whose duration is not relevant, and use it with a low gate signal. So the sequence will play as we did before. So every stage will increment the clock speed until it reaches this stage here, where a gate low signal on this track will hopefully stop the sequence. And now what I want to do is just take the gate A output of track 2, cross patch it into the auxiliary input, play, and hope for the best. Yeah! Now what I want to do is maybe add a little bit of an explosion at the end, just like in the original performance. So to do that, I will try and duplicate my noise signal, cross patch it to another filter on the Kunsa, remove my filter 1 from the mix, and try to have the highest distortion possible on the filter, which sounds like this. So I will drive everything as loud as I can. Now, at first I was tempted to use my gate B track of track 2. The same stage that stops the sequence fires a gate high and pings those filters. However, after I tried out, I realized that it was quite a dumb idea because this stage is too short. It immediately tells the sequencer to stop, so it doesn't fire a trigger long enough to be meaningful for those filters. And so my idea is to create a third track, which is an exact copy of track 2, so 12 stages of 16 time units each, except for the 12th stage is not 16 time units, but it's 15, and the 13th stage is 1 time unit. So I will send a gate on the very last note played by the sequence, and I will program it here on track A, on gate A of track 3, patch it on my filters, and let's see what happens. Nice! I think that we have gone quite a longer way from where we started. I hope you found this video useful. Of course, I will say that again, the attempt was not to recreate the original sound or the original melody that Keith Emerson used, but instead looking at the live exhibition and figure out how something like this might have been done without a musician actually on stage. I think that this has been a very good exercise because it really tested the limit of the Usta sequencer, and on the other hand, it really improved our parametric thought, to use Alan Strange's word, in terms of how we program the machine to instruct itself as the patch goes on. Again, I hope you found it useful. If you have any comments or remarks, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time for more patch tips.